We're chatting about Songbook, obviously, 2 days away from release. So I've been listening through the two tracks that have been sent out, of course, Alone Again Naturally, and watched the video and the new track. I'll start with the venue, though. Why was Lafayette chosen as the venue for Songbook?
Yeah, it's just a small theatre in London. We didn't want to re-record it in a studio. And there's no audience. So we just picked this small theatre, and over 2 days, we just did a few versions of each song and picked the best one to put on record. Pretty much how it was. It involved just myself on keyboard and vocal, and then Bill Shanley on guitar, on various guitars and stuff. That's the combination that we're touring with, have been touring with for the last few years, including America last year. And it will also continue this year and next year.
Bill Shanley in particular, as you mentioned, given that the project came about from that suggestion to do this because of the interplay, how would you describe the chemistry, the musical interaction with Bill on stage?
Well, it's great because, it's a 2-hour show, so we have a 50-minute break. I make mistakes because I have a keyboard where I have to change key. He's always there to correct me. So he's just a great guitar player, and we can rock it up. He's brilliant at that. I'm a set player, but Bill can go all over the place and stuff. The combination of the two of us works really well, when you think it's just a keyboard and a guitar. But he goes onto acoustic. We do a song now for the first time on a ukulele. We do, which is quite interesting to use a ukulele and stuff. So it's fun to do. But the combination between the two of us works really well.
After performing some of these songs, obviously from whenever they were first written and recorded and issued, in some cases a very, very long time. How do you find them evolving as the artist? How do you find them evolving, if at all, or how true do you stay to the original version that you wrote and or recorded?
Well, in terms of performing, I stick pretty much to how I recorded, how I performed. I don't want to vary it that much. Songs should be pretty much performed the way they were originally on record. What I hate to see are sort of a 10-minute version of a 3-minute hit. So I think that. I get on stage. I sing pretty much the way I used to. I've always done. No change in that. I just like to think my voice is still holding out good, and I just get enjoyment out of performing in front of a really nice audience. There's something special about that.
So how did you choose, what was the winnowing down process to know which songs to include on Songbook?
Well, I left it to my producer, Andy Wright, and engineer Gavin. I let them pick their choice of 12. And then the record company gave their choices. And my daughter, Tara, who works for me on social media, she made up her list. And my elder daughter, Helen Marie in London, who works on the publishing side, she made her list. My manager representation, he made his list. So amongst all the lists they provided, I picked out the 11, because there's one new song, so it's 11 of the original songs. So that's pretty much how it was done. No Get Down, which is unusual for such a big hit, particularly around the world. But it's fine. I think that we don't want to rock it up too much. I think the album has a nice blend of slightly faster tempo, couple of songs. But the ballads are strongly in there.
A Kiss is a Kiss seems, even listening into the preview of the project, seems to fit quite well. How did you decide to compose that song to fit the rest of this for this project?
Well, I didn't, Luke, because this song was written for the next new album, which will begin now, early next year. So if you like, that was the first song to complete for that. It's just nice to put it on here. It's a nice melody, and it just took me a while to come up with an interesting lyric. So I've done What's in a Kiss, and now we've got A Kiss is a Kiss. So it was fun to do, and it's nice to include it on the album.
So doing this project now, with another album coming, and 2 years off from the prior album, do you find this influencing at all your approach to the next project, of a stripped down, but just simple instrumentation at all? Does Songbook influence this, or is this next album going in however way artistically it's going to go?
I think it goes in the direction following Driven, which is the latest current album. The one before that the Gilbert O'Sullivan album and stuff. They were all stepping stones to, the key for me is I'm a songwriter. I mean, that's what I do for a living and stuff. And my whole job is to come up with a good melody and a good lyric. It isn't rocket science. I really work hard. I'm very disciplined about trying to maintain a good melodic input. I think that's really important to do. You could argue that for every 20 lyricists out there might be 3 or 4 that write melodies and stuff. I mean, more people can write words than they can write melodies. So it's one thing you have to really work hard at. But if you do succeed, it's very satisfying.
When you're recording the tracks for Songbook, is this like a one take, essentially live album, multiple? What was the ease of the process?
Well, because we were performing the way we perform on stage in concerts, so the setup was the same, except it was an empty theater. The atmosphere was really good. We did 2 or 3 versions of each song over 2 days, and then obviously we would just pick the best one. Andy Wright, the producer, added a little element of a string, I think, on a couple of them. But basically, it's just the two, the guitars and the piano, and that blend, that stripped-down approach, I think worked really well for this.
Was there any of those songs you found like you were particularly, I don't know if it's proud of, but you really liked how a certain song turned out in this particular arrangement?
Yeah, I mean, the arrangement would be simple because there's not a lot you could do. We didn't have an orchestra, we didn't have a band behind us and stuff, no drums or anything and stuff like that. I think that certain of the songs, I mean, there's a song called Blue Anchor Bay, which I really like. That's from the current album and stuff. But there's another song, I'll Never Love Again. I really like that song. So that's in there from the previous album. And then you have The Clares, Alone Again, Nothing Rhymed, What's in a Kiss. And so I think the blend of well-known album tracks from recent albums and the best-known songs from the past, like Alone Again, it works. They work really well together.
Well, not really closing with a question, but more of a note. When I was younger, my dad would always play Claire because I'm from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and that's where I live right now, the city of Eau-Claire. So I'd hear that as a kid and be like, oh, he's singing about Eau Claire. Cool. And it did not realize longer. It was about Claire, not Eau Claire. But it's kind of not really an unofficial theme song, but we always hear about it in this city.
Absolutely. So yes, that should be your song, I think.
It kind of is in its own way. So
yeah, absolutely.
So this is kind of a fun thing that I get to talk to the person that actually did that song all these years after I first heard it. Gilbert O'Sullivan, Songbook coming out in a couple days. Thank you so much for all you've done, writing all of these songs. All the best with this project and the next project to come as well.
Thank you, Luke. Nice talking.